Welcome to the Delta Collegiate stream. This is Noise in the Newsroom. I'm Dom Arthur. Today we have, based out of Midland, Michigan, Wagner Koop, Arctic Spaceman.
Hello.
How are you?
You know what? I'm doing pretty well in here. It's a little chilly, but it's not too bad. It's what I'm used to because I live in Michigan, so you know.
This has probably been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm pretty stoked about it. You know, I don't get a chance to talk about my music a lot because there's not a lot. There's not like a lot of opportunities in town or out of town to either perform or talk or have it played anywhere. So it's really nice. It's fun. I'm excited.
Let's segue in. What would you call your style of music? Is it house? What?
Yeah. Well, I guess like I do make a lot of house actually. I'd say blanket term is just electronic music, just in general. I've made a lot of stuff from like house to Moomba-10 or Moomba Core, I guess, a trap, dubstep, whatever. Not just flavor of the month, but like whatever strikes me is cool and inspiring. And yeah, electronic music is a good way to put it.
Now, at what age were you when you're like, you know what, this is what I want to do? This is the kind of like sound I want. Let's go.
I'd say, I think it was late 2010. I picked up this game on the DS, which was Korg DS10. And it wasn't so much a game as much it was like a kind of like an emulation of an old synthesizer, the Korg MS-10. And I just picked it up on a whim at like GameStop or whatever, and it was like, oh, it's $20. Oh, sure, I'll get it. I saw a review of this one time, and I had never really messed with composition before. I had taken piano lessons when I was like a kid, like elementary and middle school, but I kind of gave up on it because I didn't really see a practical use for it at the time. I wasn't really big into the music I was playing. I wasn't good at practicing. So, yeah, that kind of prevented me from continuing on with that. But then I picked up this game, and I'm like, this is really fun. I really like making sounds and writing melodies and stuff like that. And since it's really, really, really simple software, I really quickly outgrew it. And I'm like, I need some real music software, I guess. So I got into Propellerhead's Reason. I think at the time it was like Reason 4 or 5. That was like either like January or February 2011. So I've been doing this for a minute.
How many albums have you made?
Man, like one.
Just one?
Yeah, like that's the thing, because in electronic music, popularly, I guess, it's you'll make a single or you make an EP and you make a bunch of those and you have like a hit one and then you have another one that's big and whatever. Like artists like Skrillex or whatever, he didn't technically have an album until early last year, but he's been kind of a big deal since late 2010, early 2011 because of like this EP he had. So the thing about me though is I listen to a lot of like alternative music. I don't just listen to electronic stuff. I listen to a lot of alternative or rock or hip hop or anything, and a lot of it's very album based, whereas electronic music is more single based and EP based. So I really like the album experience. And so I'd like to put out more, but like the last album I put out was in 2012, and I keep kind of changing what I'm doing and getting better in certain regards, so I never want to put out old stuff. So it's stressful because I don't make music fast enough to where it all sounds like it was done in the same session or like creative mindset. So I've been like constantly trying to build up enough material to put out like another, even just like a small release or a whole album, but it gets like kind of muddled because I always learn something new, and then everything I had been doing for the past few months is like, well, this sounds awful. So, you know,
Yeah.
just I don't know when to put anything out anymore, so I've just been doing like singles and remixes for the last year, I'd say.
What is it about electronic that you love?
Well, for one thing, and this isn't like, this sounds like it's kind of smack talking electronic music in general. It's a lot more simple to pick up and get going with than maybe like a physical instrument like a guitar or I don't, well, you know, physical instruments, you know what they are. Guitar, that's it. But that's not like it. Like learning to produce and like make the sounds you want and mix everything and composition. Like it's still very intensive. And like I'm not even that great, and I've been doing this for at least like 3 or 4 years, I'd say, at like a serious level. But it's very quick and fun. I like the timbre of the sounds you can make. It's so freeing, and it's a very creative and open space. Where you can just kind of do what you want. You're not really constricted by your instrument because you can pretty much make any sound, and you know it's freeing, I suppose. It's fun.
What do you hate about it?
What do I hate about it? It's very oversaturated right now, the market, because of kind of an electronic music boom that I'd say happened mid 2011 and 2012 when it really hit the mainstream between then and 2013. It's just become such an oversaturated market that, you know, every kid with a laptop and a cracked version of FL Studio or Ableton Live or Reason or Cubase or Logic or whatever, like they can download some like native instrument synths like Massive and some Vengeance sample packs and then put out some hit song. Like a lot of people, because it actually like hit really high in the top 40, a lot of people have heard Animals by Martin Garrix, which is just crazy because it's just this, I think he was like 17 at the time, 17-year-old kid or 16-year-old kid or something, who just had like a pirated FL Studio, and I think it was Absinthe, but I'm not sure the synth he was using. But yeah, just like all this pirated stuff, and he made like a top 40 hit. And it's like, it's crazy. And of course everyone can't do that. And if you want to make something really successful and popular, you have to be dedicated and like really skilled at the craft. Like people think it's really easy to make pop music or really successful pop music, but it's really not. Like,
yeah,
you can make a song that's structured like a pop song and sounds like a pop song, but you know, unless you're like Max Martin or Dr. Luke or anyone like that who's really big in the game, like you're not going to have a hit song. It's a lot more about like marketing and personality. But I guess to actually get back to the question, it's just because there's a lot of it going on right now. It's kind of hard to make your own voice heard in kind of a sea of samey material, and unless you got to do something unique and special and kind of branch out from what is expected, I suppose.
Now, what's tough about producing electronic music? What do you find to be the most challenging? Is it trying to not do the same sound, or is it?
Yeah, like in a way, because a lot of what you might be inspired by is stuff you've heard, and I guess the most tough thing about it is probably just trying to sound unique. Like you can definitely do it, but I'd say there are not that many people who have like the truest, like most inspired minds where they can just create like weird sounds and still get really big. Like Diplo, he's this really big producer right now and has been for a while, but he just kind of throws stuff at the wall, and whatever sticks sticks, and whatever doesn't. But like you have to move really fast, because it's so quick to create. Once you get decent at it, that you just have to keep like going and making stuff, and that's why it's been hard for me sometimes, is because I don't write it fast. Like I've done songs in like a day or a night, and I've had them turn out really well, but I figure this is the same with a lot of music production or creation, that when you get on a creative kind of like a flow, you got to keep going with it, like no matter what's stopping you or what might stop you, like school or whatever.
Yeah.
An appointment of any sort. It's frustrating because if you keep going, you can probably get a lot of stuff finished up and written down, and if you stop, like, you might come back to it just a few hours later and be like, I don't know what to do with this. You just get very stuck for months and then not touch it for months, which is why I have like 100 project files that will never be finished, because I don't know what to do with them at all, even though they're really good concepts. It's just being stuck in the mud sometimes and not having an opportunity to get out of that.
Now, who inspired you?
I'd say initially, I was very into, like, the people that got me most into electronic music at the start were probably, well, one of them is this group out in LA called Hyper Crush, and they've been going for a minute, probably since 2006, and I only discovered them in like 2009, but like they had this really cool, like, there was a whole scene over there in LA with all this electronic pop, hip hop fusion stuff that wasn't really being done anywhere else yet. Like, these guys were doing this kind of thing before artists like Kesha or Lady Gaga were doing it back in the late 2000s or early 2010s. And I found them, and I'm like, this is really cool. I really like this. I was also really into 303 at the time. I still am for both groups, but like, they had this kind of like fun, electronic, kind of aggressive, but like danceable music, and that's fun. I guess that was what I was into initially. Lately, I'd say people like Diplo or Knife Party. Let's see, who else? Probably Skrillex. He's fun. And not just because, like, the big, angry, growly sense, but he has a lot of nice melodic work, and I strive to do stuff that's, like, interesting progression-wise, or, like, melodically, stuff that sticks in like, interesting to listen to, that doesn't just sound like background noise or, like, festival fodder, you know?
Yeah. You're someone with 1,000 nicknames.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've heard you been called Waggles. I want to call you Waggles. Someone once called you Wag Daddy Cool. That was weird.
Whoa. When was that?
This is a while ago.
Jeez.
So.
Never again.
Yeah. Out of all that, what made you want to go with Arctic Spaceman?
Oh, man.
Like, why did you choose that over picking up a cool name like Swagner?
American Flagner.
Yeah,
that's from Jeff Alacorda. He's hilarious. Paper Bagner. He's like, when we had Media One, he kept saying stuff like that. It's the best. But yeah, like, so basically, I was in this computer programming class in 2010. Probably should have stuck with it. It's a very good market to get into, kids. Anyway, I was making this game with my friend Dan, and we had this little, like, square kind of iPod looking guy, like classic iPod, who was like going through space, dodging boulders. It was very simple, but it was like our last project. It was just a game. And I just made, I forget exactly why, but I guess that became that character's name. And I'm like, okay, I'll stick with this, I guess, because it's cool, I guess, you know. And I mean, in the future, I'll probably exchange it for something else. Like, I've had this project brewing in the pot for a while with this girl out in Texas, just over the internet, because you can do that now. It's the future. Hey, you know, 2015.
Yeah.
We're in space and stuff. But yeah, like, I just have different projects that I've wanted to start and stuff like that, and I like the moniker, and I might stick with it for a while. I like it. But, you know, it seems to function and serve its purpose. So I'm kind of with it for the moment, for the time being.
Where do you see yourself in a couple of years?
Oh
With
man,
your music and stuff.
hopefully successful. I wanna be doing something kind of different from what I've been doing for a while because I've just been making electronic stuff, and I've really, for a long time, whether it just be listening or creatively minded, in a way, I've really wanted to get into like indie and indie pop and indie electronic, like stuff that's a little more fun and like I don't know, it's like Stepdad or the Ting Tings or LaRue or I don't know. I had a like Passion Pit. I had a huge list of this stuff, but just like stuff that I've wanted not necessarily to just emulate, but kind of write more stuff similar to. That's kind of what I mentioned with this girl I've been talking with from Texas. Her name's Alyssa, and she's a really talented singer and songwriter. And she likes my music too. I said, hey, we should make music. And she's like, yeah, we should make music. So we've been doing that kind of. And I want to get a few songs finished up with her and like submit it to some indie labels, and maybe they'd like it. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll just be an independent release. But I'd love to be big enough to like tour or whatever, because she's like on the other side of the country. So if there was an actual reason to get together and like play shows, like that'd be really cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to be doing, is just like doing stuff with this music that makes me like happy and proud and excited to be doing it for lots of people, because I'm kind of done with not doing live performances. It's really boring.
Are you interested at all to learn an actual instrument rather than kind of?
Oh, just synth stuff. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I'm this semester I'm actually taking a piano one course, which I don't know if like how much of it I still like need to retake specifically. I'm in a weird limbo period where I think I'm like almost good enough to be taking like a piano 2 course, but I'm not, because I've been out of it so long that it's really tough to just like pick up and play. But at the same time, like I'm like ready and really excited to. I want to learn to play piano better, because I think that would benefit compositions a lot. I'd have an easier time with theory or performing or like anything of that nature. It'd be a lot more organic of an experience. Not that I think that it's inorganic, but it would feel a little more human, I suppose. And yeah, like that's what I've like really been like down to do for a while, and I'm taking that step. So, yes.
Now, how long do you think it's going to be until we get the big Michigan and Texas collaboration out of you and
Alyssa? But
Alyssa? There we go.
Who's to say? I don't know. We've got like one song in the pot, and then we have a few more concepts. And I like to get like 4 to 6 done if we put out like an EP or something. And I definitely say that could happen this like spring or summer if we get the ball rolling. And I could probably put out my own music sometime soon in the future, because I have a lot of stuff that's like nearly finished, but it's not yet. So, yeah, I'd say early this year. I don't know if I'd say like really early this year, like not like February or March, but closer to like May or June. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, but you can totally quote me on it if that's your job.
No, what do you do in your spare time? Do you have any cool hobbies, talent?
Yeah, tons of cool hobbies, like sitting around eating, which I'm working on right now. I play a bunch of video games, and in turn waste a lot of my time and money on video games that could be spent on music, but I guess it's not wasted time if I enjoy it.
No.
Yeah, I see friends a lot. I'm very extroverted, so it's very difficult when I'm not around people or friends for a while. I feel very sad and lonely, so that's one thing I gotta do. Yeah. Other hobbies, I draw a bit. I do art sometimes. I did a lot of that in school, like K through 12 education, and then it didn't like drop off because I hated it. I just dropped off because I have a different creative outlet that I like more and think I do better. So, yeah, like video games and seeing friends and eating food, which I'm working on. But
Who are some people you'd love to work with?
man, just so many people. I'd really like to work with Hypercrush, actually. I met them not this year. Wow, it's 2015, everyone. Whoa. Earlier last year, probably about April, I'd say late April, they played a show and I got to meet them, which is great because I had loved them for like 5 years or so, and I'm like, this is the best. And they never come here because they're from LA and they're not enormous yet, so they don't have a lot of reason to come to Michigan, especially like some podunk little town, which is what they went to. I don't care. That's just how it is, Battle Creek people. But
yeah, you won't get a fan base there.
Nope, I sure hope not. I never want to go back. They played a great show, and it was a fun time, and I got to hang out with them. They showed me, like me specifically, they like knew me because I post on their stuff all the time because I'm irritating, and I've ordered merch from them a lot. Like they recognized me a bit, and they showed this like new song off that didn't premiere until like September, so like months in advance. It was really cool. But yeah, they're just so chill. People like them, other big producers like Zed or Diplo or whoever. Like I want to be big enough to where I can just have these people as like contacts. Like, how do you like this thing I'm doing? Like, that'd be so cool. Just to like send something off to some like huge artist, and they're like, yeah, this is awesome. Do this, and I'm like, okay. Like it'd be such a fun time. I'd be down with that.
No, where do you see the future of electronic? Do you see it becoming something that just fizzles out and it's never touched again, or is it?
No, I think it's gonna be around. Like, the thing is that it just this is big stupid bubble like EDM and stuff, which is a really big umbrella term. It doesn't really mean anything specifically. It just means like hard danceable electronic music, whether it be like house or trap or dubstep or whatever. Like it's like I said, it's very oversaturated, and it's going to cool down for a minute. At least I figure it would. I figure everyone has to be tired of it eventually. I don't think it'll go away though. Like, it'll be there. It's just because there's never, like, of course there's been a lot of booms in the past dealing with electronic music. Like, there were a lot of synthesizers in the 80s. That's like a kind of a joke or a stereotypical thing about like a lot of 80s music is like all the synthesizers and electronic stuff. And then in the 90s there were some like club scenes that got really big, and you had some crossover hits in the late 90s, but nothing that was like really like this like pervasive and impactful, I'd say, on the mainstream music scene or just music in general. So I don't think it'll go away. I think it'll stick around. It definitely will like cool a little bit, and it won't be as big. I probably think like the next mainstream thing is going to be a lot of like folky stuff, if that hasn't already like fizzled out, because you had a bunch of bands kind of jumping on that train, like kind of an indie folk scene, which is still like really poppy. But as far as electronic stuff goes, I don't know. Like it's a really constantly evolving anamorphous cloud of sounds and genres and techniques and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be there. It just won't be as big, and it'll probably resurface again at some point because of some reason for some artist who made some song that was some big deal. But yeah. Where
do you see music in general going? Do you think it's just going to be, or do you think it's going to transition from this? We're already kind of breaking out into the internet now with music. Do you think,
like the industry and stuff?
Yeah. Do you think the industry is going to kind of see a...
Yeah, it's got to downsize a lot just because, you still have all these people that are pushed as like really big. I think that there will be a much larger focus, like it's just has been for a long time, on whether it be like streaming or some sort of internet distribution, web-based distribution, where artists can just put stuff out. I just think they're someone will come up with a better means of promotion, because right now the biggest like promoting deal is major labels, and like you don't need like major labels anymore. You could go home, get all the software you need, get the equipment you need, and just make a professional sounding record. You don't necessarily need this huge label to handle all this stuff. Like you do need them if you're going to tour around the world, and I don't know if I'd say need. It'd be preferable to have them if you're going to tour around the world, print all this merch out, print all these CDs out for people who buy CDs like me. I buy CDs, they're fun. It's difficult from like a personal startup project if you want to do anything crazy and expansive. And I figure someone at some point somewhere will come up with some sort of business where they can fund people who are smaller, who would like to kind of branch out with their sound and reach more people, whether it be promotion or whatever. Like, someone will come up with that business model, and I think that'll probably be the next step, in my opinion. I'm not like a professional, but I just figure that's like the one thing that major labels have over independent artists right now, is just the means of getting your sound out there and getting it heard. You have the internet, that's how you get it out there, but it's just a big sea of everyone uploading something at once. No one's going to see it unless you make it special, or if you have the right marketing. So I think that's like where it's going to maybe go, and still downsize a little bit more. So yeah.
Are you ever going to take your sound and try to put it in a video game?
That'd be great. I'd love that. That's totally my thing. I would love to do that so much. Like, yeah, like I'd like to work with like an indie developer or something, or someone making a game, or whoever, maybe even like a big professional studio. It'd be such a good time, because there's a lot of underappreciated aspects of video games, I guess, like music being one of them. I don't think it's something people ignore, but you might not be focused on it, or you might put your own music on, and it's so fun. Like when the right person composes the right stuff, like in games like Hotline Miami or Super Meat Boy or The Binding of Isaac, like they all have these really perfect, great like scores and soundtrack pieces. It's like, this is great. I want to do that. And I feel like I have to get better at what I'm doing just to make sure I can accommodate, because I don't think I've ever like written for anything before, and that's what I'm doing this project with Garrett Morgan. He's working on this film, which I won't spoil anything about, but
yeah, already.
Yeah, you're you know about it.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I'm doing the score for it, and I'm trying to make it good, and I'm trying to make sure it turns out well, because he shot a really nice film, so I want it to sound good too.
Did you already like see a little bit of it?
Yeah, he exported most of it for me, and it's really good. Like, it's shot really well, and I want the soundtrack to match it. Yeah. He has like placeholder stuff, but I'm like, this is so good. How will I outdo it? But I gotta do it, and I'll do it. So that'll be a learning experience, and hopefully it will be a positive one too.
Yeah, that'd be. I keep sending him links to these festivals and stuff. He's probably getting sick of me. Every 2 weeks, sending him this new link, like, you should probably put it here.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I would be so stoked if he got his movie to play somewhere like important and like legitimate or whatever, and then also my music was attached to it. That'd be so cool. Yeah. And I would totally be down with doing that more.
Now, when are you gonna ever play a venue in the area?
I've played Ham Street a couple times, and that was cool. It's just, it's not really an electronic venue, so it's tough because there's not really a scene for that. And I figure there's like a basement scene, like someone, like a big group of people who are super down with this, but it's not like there's no like huge venues around the area. Like there's that place that, like, they're just places that have like tried to there's some place in Bay City that I tried to contact because they like have reformatted themselves into more of like a club scene or whatever, and I just never got anything back from them. So like, well, so it's tough. Like that's what kind of why I wanted to do this thing with Alyssa was, even if we're like really far apart, like eventually if it got big enough because of the internet or whatever reason, if we made a good track or a good release in general, like it would get enough people's attention that we could like tour or something around the country or around the state even. I don't know. Like, well, I'd say around the country because I wouldn't want her to just come here or have me to go to Texas. But it'd be a good time. Like, yeah, I'd love to like tour with a bunch of acts and like stuff like that. I'd really love it. There's nothing like planned right now. I'd really like if there was, but there isn't. So I'm dealing with it. I'm just trying to make music good enough that it gets people's attention, and then I'll work from there.
Now, do you have any advice for someone that's at the stage of where they're kind of stuck, not knowing what direction to go or how to, where to take off from?
Well, from an artistic standpoint, I'd say keep like taking in music or like reading or watching films, or look for creative outlets that might kind of sync up with your own, and you might be inspired. From like a technical standpoint, I'd say watch a lot of tutorials on YouTube, go on forums a lot, talk with people, because odds are someone's had the same question that you have had and someone's probably answered it. So yeah, like, just keep trying and look for people who are interested in helping you. Like, not people who are just gonna like say, whoa, that's really dope, like that's crazy how you did that thing. Like that, I really appreciate comments like that, but I at the same time appreciate stuff like, hey, this would be better if X or Y, or stuff like that. Like, you need to find people who are creatively minded and who care about your sound and who care about you, who are also critical but in like a friendly way.
Yeah.
Constructive. So people who will help you better your craft. Like, that's important to keep those people around, but not to like let them stifle your creativity or anything.
And where could the people find your music online?
I have it on a SoundCloud page. It's just under Arctic Spaceman. A Facebook page, which is more like a hub for all that. Bandcamp, which is kind of where I put all my like albums or like larger releases, because SoundCloud is more for like individual files. Bandcamp is more for you can put like individual files up there, but it's more for like you can buy stuff there or download full albums. So that's what I use for that. I have a YouTube channel I never use. Same goes for Twitter and Tumblr, but they're there. If you Google Arctic Spaceman, you'll probably find them. Maybe. Or if you just find the Facebook page, it should have links. But I'd say SoundCloud is the place I update the most. And keep the freshest tunes up.
All right. Well, this has been cool. Thanks for coming out and sitting with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
No problem. And thank you for listening. This has been Noise in the Newsroom, a production of the Delta Collegiate.
Stormy day outside, but the freckles in his eyes. It was no surprise that his history was a mystery. He came flying clear from the clouds beneath his home, in hopes to roam the cities, valleys, lakes, and seas. Let me tell you something. It was in his face. Let me tell you something. He was out of place. Didn't even notice. People say see were. What do you have to give? Do you want reality or to be free from a wave of thoughts that always stay? Looking for acceptance, though it looked to me something unexpected. He said frequently, didn't even notice, didn't realize, didn't give a damn when he was demonized. Brightest thing I ever saw shining in the meanest sky. Hunters watching carefully, sights on the Aloma beam. Hey Neptune man, why do you do the things that you do? Does it work for you? Hey Neptune man, how do you plan on getting away, or will you stay?